Beats Media presents the Scoop and Score Football Show.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Scoop and Score Football Show, episode 16 of the Scoop and Score Football Show, brought to you by Ball and Beats Media. Do us a favor real quick before we even bring up what we're going to discuss today. You should stop whatever you're doing and hit subscribe. You should hit that push notification bell to stay up to date on all new videos. Follow us on our Instagram page. Follow us on our TikTok page. We were just live not too long ago on TikTok. Yep. Santa was there even. He was giving out presents. Do that. All right? Spencer, how are you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm chilling, man.
I'm chilling. Watching a lot of action this past weekend. Army, Navy. You had Blake Horvath absolutely carrying the midshipmen to that gritty 1-point win over the Black Knights, of course, in Baltimore. It always goes that way. The underdog always covers, no matter what.
We actually got some passing yards in the game, too.
I know. It's like probably like the first time combined where they passed for like 100 yards or 150 yards in the game. So congratulations to our military schools out there balling. You had bowl season kickoff with the Bucked Up LA Bowl, presented by Gronk, or hosted by Gronk, actually, with an absolute splattering of Washington, Boise State. We're still waiting for some of the picks that we picked last week to unfold as at the time of this recording. But we also have a lot of news in college football with the transfer portal. A lot of guys are entering the transfer portal. We had a lot of action in the NFL slate this past weekend. But where we're going to start today, because this weekend, the college football playoff officially starts, right? And what I want to do is I want to take a look back at our preseason prediction, and now we're going to lay out our postseason predictions. So let's just take a step back down memory lane here and look at how we did in the preseason.
Not great.
I'll start with yours, Spencer. Your number one team was the Clemson Tigers. Okay.
They were close.
They were close.
We almost got there. Just a few games out. It's all right.
I mean, Peter Woods and TJ Parker, they're still going to be probably top 20, top 25 picks in the NFL draft once we get there and discuss that. What a season. What a rough season for Clemson. All the hype and just kind of fell flat on their face. Their offense wasn't good. Cade Klubnik did not pan out like everyone thought he was going to and take that next step as he did the previous year. Dabo Swinney, he's been adamant this offseason. It sounds like he might hit the portal a lot more than he's ever had before. So we'll have to see what happens.
Have to adapt at some point. So
number 2, you had the Texas Longhorns, which I'll give you this. I mean, I had Texas as well up at number 1 in mine, but the Longhorns 9-3, not bad. Arch Manning's returning, We'll have to see how Texas is next year. I think they'll be a lot better next year. That's just my prediction right now. But all those close games, they were close to making the playoff, but you can't play in overtime against Kentucky. You can't play in overtime against Mississippi State. You can't lose to a 4-8 Florida Gators team.
That's the simple thing. You just can't lose to Florida. Even if you beat Florida in overtime, they're in the playoffs most likely, because an overtime win, I mean, while it doesn't look great, it's still a win. Alabama looked terrible against a bad Auburn team, and they barely won. I mean, it just at the end of the day, get the win, and that you can't put a team that lost to a 4-8 Florida team in there. But then again, they put a team that lost to a 5-7 Florida State team.
Yeah.
So who knows anymore, man? It's pick and choose with the committee. So
number 3, your Ohio State Buckeyes. Number 3, good solid prediction there.
Just one off.
Just one off, Big Ten runner-ups.
With them being at 2. But yeah, good season for the Buckeyes so far.
Number 4, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Weren't they the talk of everything, huh? It's not like we didn't talk a lot about Notre Dame.
Yeah.
They should be in, towards the end of this run.
Yeah, I mean Notre Dame had all the talent, with um their new quarterback and CJ Carr and all the, Jeremiah Love, Heisman finalists. Their defense was fine enough. They talked about having a historic 10-game run, but they didn't beat anybody worth a damn except I guess USC. And if you want to throw Pitt in there too, I guess, but can't lose to Miami because Miami had the same record as you and damn near the same strength schedule. So head to head matters. So
Number 5, you had Penn State.
the national championship is being played in New York in the Pinstripe Bowl.
Yes, it is. That is the preseason national championship right there. Cade
Yep.
Klubnik and Ethan Grunkemeyer, not Drew Aller, out there slinging the rock for both squads. This was supposed to be their year, and it never will be again for either school, and that's okay. But Matt Campbell coming into town now for Penn State, maybe one of, if not possibly the best hire in this coaching cycle. I think it's up there in the top 2, top 3. Currently, you never know how things work out, but that Oregon loss, man, it completely drained them. They wrecked their season.
Yeah, they were favored in that game. I mean, they had all the momentum going into that game, and they do what James Franklin led Penn State teams do, and lost in a big spot. And then but then again, like the very next week, it's not like Penn State dropped a ton. They dropped, I think, 7. So they were still in a great spot no matter what. Even if you lose to Ohio State and go 10-2 and you win the rest of your games, you probably have a solid shot, I would say, of making the playoffs. Not an amazing shot, but you would definitely be in conversation. But you lost to a bad UCLA team, and that was inexcusable. So at the end of the day, Penn State has no one to blame but themselves. And, going on a 6-game losing streak after starting out 3-0 is deflating. So they had a nice end of the season with Terry Smith with going 3-0 in their last 3 games to make a bowl game at 6-6. But, with them hiring Matt Campbell, we already talked about it. I think it's a solid hire. I don't think it's an amazing hire, but I think it's a solid hire. And we'll see where it goes from there.
Number 6, you had the SEC champion Georgia Bulldogs here.
Yeah, I was 3 off. So at least I got that one in there.
Number 7, the Garrett Nussmeier-led LSU Tigers. Brian Kelly.
Disappointment.
That defense, man, it was really good this year. And it's crazy because 2 years ago with Jaden Daniels, if they had this defense and that offense,
they would have won a national championship.
Yes. Mansour Delane is going to be one of the top corners in the draft this year. All-American corner for the Tigers. Harold Perkins still played pretty decent. He kind of died down after his freshman year. I was very high on Harold Perkins. I thought he was one of the best defenders in college football 2 years ago. He hasn't necessarily been the same. But this offense was awful with Nussmeier.
Mhm.
They couldn't run the ball that well. Their weapons on the outside weren't terrible. Berrien Brown was very solid. Aaron Anderson was pretty decent. Something was off. Something was off, and their offensive coordinator, he got fired, obviously, and now you have Lane Kiffin coming in really to right the ship next year. We'll see what happens with LSU moving forward. At number 8, you kind of had them right around this range, the Alabama Crimson Tide.
They were always going to make the playoffs. They were not going to. If they were to miss 2 straight years, DeBoer would have been shot out of a cannon.
Who knows? Maybe he would have been shot out of a cannon straight to Ann Arbor, Michigan.
Now, the more and more I think about it, the more and more they're going to hire Jedd Fisch or hire Biff Poggi, and that'd be the most hilarious thing of all time if they hire Biff Poggi. That'd be a disaster hire, and I'd be all here for it.
I don't know, man. I still feel like Kenny Dillingham's got a legit chance up there at Michigan.
He's not losing. He's not leaving Arizona State.
It's not that I disagree with that. Spencer takes a sip of his unsponsored B&B water over there. I feel like Dillingham, if he's offered the right amount of money, he would leave.
They'll give him a massive extension, raise, whatever. Arizona State's not going to let him leave. I just have full belief. Kalen DeBoer, I don't think is going to leave either. Because I don't think going from Alabama to Michigan is an upgrade. think it's a lateral move. And it doesn't make sense, really. It doesn't make sense at all for DeBoer to leave Alabama just 2 years into his tenure.
I agree with you.
Because he's not. I mean, if they lose the game to Oklahoma, there's a shot, but I don't think it happens. I think he wants to build at Alabama. And at the end of the day, I think it's going to be Jedd Fisch. I think that's the right move for Michigan. Jedd Fisch is a great coach. He's proven it. He's a great defensive coach, and he was at Michigan under Harbaugh. And I think at the end of the day, that would be the best move for him. But who knows? That program, it runs a bunch of scumbags up there, and just hire Biff Poggi, who was terrible at Charlotte. So
Might as well. Number 9, your beloved Yellow Jackets.
yeah, we were so close, yet so far. So it was tough. It was tough, but you know, what can you say? They were number 7. They were high as number 7 at one point, and lost to. They got blown out by Pitt. Didn't look good, and then they had a tough game against Georgia. I give them that, but we're gonna win the Pop-Tart Bowl. It's all right. It's all right.
You got the greatest bowl game to play in, so.
Exactly. Who wants to be in the playoffs when you be in the Pop-Tart Bowl? Kidding me?
Exactly. I mean, I don't know who would turn that down, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how you could. Number 10, you did have the Kenny Dillingham-led Arizona State Sun Devils trying to get back in the playoff. They just weren't good enough. They had a couple things happen. Jordan Tyson was injured throughout the year. Sam Levitt was injured. He's also going into the transfer portal this year, probably going to be the most coveted quarterback or one of in this year's transfer cycle. But they still had a very solid season.
Yeah, they did. I mean, I expect a lot more out of Arizona State, but injuries derailed them, and they just didn't have the firepower at the end. They had a really nice win against Texas Tech, but they just couldn't get it together this season. But if Dillingham stays, I have no doubt that he will get them back to the playoffs at some point. And I don't know if it's next year because you got to get a quarterback with Levitt leaving, and you got to replace Jordan Tyson. But I fully expect them to get them back there if he returns to ASU.
Number 11, the Illinois Fighting Illini, which it was the year for them to do it, it felt like, and they had an okay season still. They expected
Not great,
a lot
Bob.
more.
Not great.
They expected a lot more.
Yep.
Would they finish 8-4? I think they finished 8-4
Yep.
on the year. They went 9-3 last year, returning practically everybody from last year's squad, and
They won the Land of Lincoln trophy. That's what matters.
they beat the Wildcats. Hey, Northwestern's going bowling, okay? Preston
Yeah, they are.
Stone and Ryan Braun up there. I think no one's talking about how
SMU
gritty
legend and
Northwestern was this season. They played maybe the most gritty out of any team in the entire Big Ten.
They should have beat Michigan.
They should have. Michigan should have lost a couple games that they didn't. So, but we won't discuss that because that's a sore subject nowadays. Your last team, Boise State, still won the Mountain West.
Yeah, I feel like they're throwing every year. They're going to be one of those teams that they win the Mountain West every year. So I feel like they're going to be a throw-in every other year to make the playoffs. They did last year. They didn't this year because, losing Ashton Genty, which was essentially your entire offense, was pretty big. But then again, I mean, Boise did win the Mountain West, so wasn't too terrible of a prediction.
It's all right. It's all right. It's why we have a new bracket to get our predictions out there. But with mine here, I had Texas at number 1. I believed in the Arch Manning hype. I thought he was going to be a little bit better than he was. He just wasn't. Their defense was not as good as they are on paper. Colin Simmons, he was still fairly solid, but everyone else around him, Michael Taft, he was in and out the lineup at strong safety for the Texas Longhorns all season. So they'll be better next year. They have Ohio State again, this time at home. Who knows? Maybe they'll use the excuse if they lose that one that they shouldn't schedule tough opponents. But then, just don't lose to Florida. Ohio State at number 2. I predicted that exactly right. I'll take that.
Yep.
12-0 regular season, avenging the Michigan loss, losing to Indiana in the Big Ten title game. It's whatever. You got a chance here still to go on and win a national championship. Number 3, The Clemson Tigers. Yikes. It was brutal. Brutal season. It felt like they were going to have a generational defense. It really did. And it just did not happen. They still have guys, like I already said, going to the NFL draft and will be very good pros. But it felt like this was the time for Dabo Swinney to kind of laugh at everyone's face, who basically said he could not do it in this era of college football. And it just did not work. And now he's back to the drawing board and kind of has to hit the portal. Something he does not want to do, but he's going to have to do it. Number 4, the Penn State Nittany Lions. It was same thing. It just same thing happened, and it this time caused a ripple effect to where the mindset derailed for this team. And for the better, James Franklin is not their coach anymore for his sake and for Penn State's sake. And now you got a new mindset coming in with Matt Campbell, who's going to finally have the best tools to his disposal to get the best athletes possible. I fully believe Matt Campbell is going to do great things at Penn State. I don't know if that entails a national championship, a Big Ten championship. I feel like it's going to happen at some point, at least a Big Ten championship, because I believe he is that good and that quality of a coach compared to what they had with James Franklin, where he could recruit like hell, but Matt Campbell can develop. He can develop, and he's had to work with nothing at Iowa State. He had to create their own collective from the ground up. In this modern era of college football, you had no real investors out there named Iowa. You have a ton in State College, Pennsylvania, and they're throwing $30+ million a year in NIL spending. They're throwing $18 million just for his pool for coaching. Penn State's investing a lot in Matt Campbell. I believe in Penn State moving forward. I don't know about next year or even year 2, but he's got 8-year deal for a reason. So we'll see what happens with Matt Campbell and the Nittany Lions moving forward. Number 5, I had Alabama. I was pretty high on Alabama coming into this year. They did have those losses at Oklahoma. They lost week 1 to Florida State, which I think really threw everything up in arms to begin the season. It was like, oh, this is how Alabama's going to be. Everyone started questioning Kalen DeBoer. Is this team even going to make a bowl game? This was the conversation some people thought after 1 week against Florida State, and if Florida State was really that legit. Well, Alabama, they went on that 4-game stretch, and it's like, all right, everything's good now. They beat 4 straight ranked teams. And then the last month of the season, they weren't playing good football. They have not played good football leading into the playoff. So it'll be intriguing to see what happens Friday night against Oklahoma in Norman, if they can avenge that loss. I think this game matters a lot, really, for the psyche of Alabama fans. It'll be intriguing to see what happens. Number 6, I had Notre Dame. Notre Dame realistically should have been in the playoff, but they also deserve to not be because of the head-to-head loss to Miami. They were playing like one of the best 10 teams in the country, and if they were in the field, I would have picked them to probably make at least the semifinal or make it all the way to the national championship. But they deserved to not make it, but they were good enough to easily be in there. And I know they feel slighted. It's more about the system and how it was this year with the committee. The committee's a joke, the way they ranked it. It shouldn't have taken them a month and a half to change Miami and Notre Dame in the head-to-head, but they weren't expecting them to be at the exact same spot towards the end of the season. Yeah, Notre Dame still got a lot ahead of them. They have one of their best recruiting classes of all time this season for 2026. Marcus Freeman's one of the best coaches in college football. I still expect Notre Dame to continuously play for national championships under Marcus Freeman. Number 7, the Georgia Bulldogs. A lot of questions about Gunnar Stockton coming into this season. I didn't have a lot of faith in him, and boy, do I have a lot of faith in him now. He is one of the better quarterbacks in the country. His offense is great. Nate Frazier's a very solid running back. Lawson Lucky, great tight end. Zachariah Branch he's been a nice weapon that they haven't had. They haven't had a speedster in a while on the outside. So Zachariah Branch has been very good. And this defense is still Georgia's defense, and it's Kirby Smart. So I feel like Georgia's a shoo-in to the semifinal, and we'll see how it goes for them. Number 8, I had LSU, and again, we already talked. Their defense was exceptional, and this offense was just lackluster. And now they have a change of direction with Lane Kiffin, and this offense is expected to be a lot better under Lane Kiffin. And if it's not, then what the hell's wrong with Baton Rouge? LSU, they got some serious problems. But Lane Kiffin and LSU is like a perfect match made in heaven because they both have their own problems, and now they're matching each other. So it's just beautiful. Number 9, I had Oregon. You didn't have Oregon in the playoff. I had Oregon in the playoff. And I think that what Dan Lanning has done this season, what Dante Moore has done this season without his top weapons most of the year has gone completely unnoticed across the scene because DeCorian Moore, true freshman wide receiver, one of his best receivers, been out in and out the lineup all season. He hasn't even had his number 1 receiver all year long in Evan Stewart, who is probably going to be back for the playoff for Oregon. So they're getting their best weapons back now. They're getting healthy now. Their offensive line had even been banged up, and it was still a very good unit, all having one of the best running games in the entire country with Noah Whittington. I like Oregon a lot in this playoff. I think they have possibly on paper the best draw. If you wanted to find a best draw this year, I think it's a lot tighter this year because of how they set it up with just the top 4 teams getting the bye instead of the top 4 conference champs. So I think it's a little bit tighter, but it's still the best draw if you look at it on paper. Number 10, I had the Texas Tech Red Raiders, and I had to rock the tortilla toss shirt for reasons because they lived up to it. David Bailey, Jacob Rodriguez, Romello Height, that defense lived exactly up to the hype of the NIL money they spent on them. Baron Morton was solid. He wasn't great. He was good. But their running game really came out of nowhere. They had Quentin Joyner, former USC Trojan, come in. He tore his ACL at the beginning of the year. Threw a little bit of a wrench in the running game, but you had Cameron Dickey and Jacoby Williams step up to the plate, and they dominated that offense. They are their offense. If people don't stop them, Texas Tech has a legit chance in this playoff to go far because of that defense. But if you stop that running game, maybe they'll lose a little earlier than people thought. Number 11, maybe the worst prediction of all in the entire bracket for both of us. DJ Lagway and the Florida Gators and Billy Napier. And now Billy Napier's fired. DJ Lagway is going into the transfer portal, which we will discuss a little bit after. It just didn't work. Period. Simple as that. Just did not work.
I told you, they don't have a coach.
They might have one now, and we'll have to see how Florida is in the next year or two with John Sumrall down there. But it was just best for both worlds because Billy Napier, the one thing that really hurt him more than anything else was the fact that he was too adamant about calling the plays as the head coach. Multiple times he should have changed and said, I need an offensive coordinator to call the plays. Let me be the head coach. And he just was too stubborn. He was too stubborn for himself. And that's what cost him his job at Florida. And that's what cost DJ Lagway maybe the way he was playing. I will say that he had, 5 interceptions in one game? It was not good. Play calling was awful, but he was also not great. You see the tools with him. There is a coaching staff that is going to love what he has and thinks that they can fix him. And I still trust DJ Lagway to maybe right the ship somewhere else. But it depends. Depends. People thought the same about Jackson Arnold. He went to Hugh Freeze in Auburn. It did not work out. So it's a lot about fit. It's a lot about the coach, I think, with DJ Lagway. Who do you trust with him? We'll get into that later. Number 12, my final school, I had the UNLV running Rebels. They almost won the Mountain West as well, so I can't be too mad about Dan Mullen.
Yep.
No one talked about Dan Mullen to Michigan. What if he's the guy to watch out for? Let's talk about it. I don't see Dan Mullen being at UNLV come 2027 or 2028, really. So I think he'll get a bigger
No,
opportunity again somewhere else. But UNLV, they played really good. Anthony Colandrea, the former Virginia Cavalier, and they had Alex Orji to begin the year as well, but he tore his ACL early on. The nice dual threat, nice duo at quarterback.
he's
They
a
played pretty
he's
decent.
a running back. He can't throw the ball.
Well, that's why you brought him in to run the ball.
Alex Orji is awful at throwing the ball.
He is very awful, but that's why you bring him in the red zone opportunities, okay?
Pretty
That's all.
much. Just run the ball.
Done talking about our preseason takes. It's time for the real thing, Spence. We've got the college football playoff starting at the time, really, of this recording when people watch it. Friday night, 6 p.m. this airs. First game, Friday night, 8 o'clock. Number 7, Texas A&M. Number 10, Miami. Who do you have in the first matchup?
I got Texas A&M. I'm going to roll with the Aggies. I think that they're playing a little bit better. I think I trust Marcel Reed more than I trust Carson Beck. And while I think Miami's playing very well, I think Texas A&M could have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder because of that loss to Texas. Kept them out of the SEC championship game, kind of like what was happening to Ohio State last year, losing to Michigan at home. I think the same could go for Texas A&M here. I think that they could have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder. I like the way their offense plays. Marcel Reed's a great dual threat quarterback. He was in talks for Heisman for a while. And Carson Beck, I can't trust him. I just can't in a big spot like this. And it's in College Station. That place is going to be rocking. That place is going to be nuts. I know my family's going to be down there because a good amount of my family down in Texas are A&M fans. So I'll go with the Aggies at home.
Kyle Field is one of the best environments in all of college football. Excuse me. Texas A&M had one heck of a run in the regular season. They went 11-0. They did kind of sputter towards the end. Miami is playing some of the hottest football in college football, period, right now, the last month and a half, ever since their 2 losses. This one is easily, I think, going to be the best first-round game in the playoff that we've had, period, since the 12-team format started. I think Miami's defense is the difference in this. I think Ruben Bain Jr. is the difference. A&M does not have a player like him. They do have Cassius Howell on that defensive line. He's an absolute stud, but they don't have Ruben Bain Jr. He's different. And I think Miami just has better playmakers on the outside that I think's different. I think they battle and they win the trenches. I like the Hurricanes to go into Kyle Field and get it done. I think it'll be an Ohio State, Miami Cotton Bowl.
That'll be fun. Either way, it'll be a good game.
Next matchup, that's actually not the Friday night. That's the Saturday at noon game. The Friday night game, Alabama, Oklahoma in Norman. 8-9, another rematch. These two teams have played in back-to-back years. Oklahoma's gotten the better of Alabama both times they've played. Alabama getting in with 3 losses. It's a little bit of an issue with some folks out there, but they have a chance. Do they do it?
I think it's hard to beat a team twice in a season in football. Oklahoma went into Tuscaloosa and beat them, in which was a decent game. It was a tough game for both sides. Alabama's offense has been sputtering a little bit, but I trust Ty Simpson a lot more than I trust John Mateer right now. Mateer's been terrible, and this Oklahoma offense has been terrible. Their defense is very good, and Alabama's defense is pretty solid as well. And I think they're going to have a chip on their shoulder, kind of like Texas A&M. They kind of got, aced out in the SEC championship game. And Kalen DeBoer, I know, is going to have that fire in him to get it going, especially with all the rumors of the Michigan job. I think that this Alabama offense is going to get going. I think that they're going to get something going with Ty Simpson and get Ryan Williams back into the mix on this offensive line led by Caden Proctor. I got Alabama going into Norman and beating Oklahoma.
For me, this one was the hardest one to pick because I fully agree with everything you just said. It is hard to beat a team twice in the same season. We seen it last year, Ohio State, Oregon, in the Rose Bowl. Ohio State had lost in the regular season.
With Georgia, Alabama.
Yeah. There's something about Oklahoma that I feel like just has Alabama's number for some reason. Their defense has dominated Bama both times they've played in the last 2 years. And I understand it's Alabama having weeks to prepare, but something about Oklahoma's defense gives me a little pause for concern for Alabama because they're obviously one-dimensional. They can't run the ball that well. Oklahoma, that's really their strength, is stopping the run. Their pass pro isn't great, but does John Mateer make enough plays? Really, it's who gets to 20 points first wins this ball game because Oklahoma can't really score that well. And Alabama's offense, it gives me pause for concern. They're both defensively pretty good. Offense wins games. Defense wins championships. Oklahoma's defense is better than Alabama's. I give the slight edge to Oklahoma getting the win. So I got the Sooners going on to the Rose Bowl. Confidence level, 1 out of 10. Either or. You could flip a coin for this one, but I lean Oklahoma.
That's why it's the 8-9.
3:30 game. We have Ole Miss, Tulane.
Ole Miss next. We can speed through these.
You're telling me Jake Retzloff ain't
No.
doing it? No.
No. The Super Soaker from BYU who went to Tulane is not going to go into Ole Miss and win. Trinidad Chambliss has been playing very well. I think this offense is going to be pretty good even without Lane Kiffin, at least for the game against Tulane. Tulane's outmatched. Tulane got blown out by UTSA. Ole Miss. We've already seen this matchup before this season. Ole Miss won by 35. Maybe it's not by that much again. Maybe it's more like 21 or 24, but Ole Miss is going to win big next. And then we can skip to the other game.
I agree with Ole Miss, Tulane. Ole Miss. I think Ole Miss might play some of the best football they've had all season. I think the Lane Kiffin situation might bring this team together. That's a team I don't want to play if I'm Georgia. That's a team I don't want to play going into the quarterfinal, maybe even semifinal. I think they're the sneaky dark horse team to watch, simply because does this team come together? You saw Ohio State, Michigan last year. That brought Ohio State together, and it made them go on a run for a national title. I'm not saying Ole Miss is as good as last year's Ohio State team. I'm just saying I think that the drama off the field could unite those guys and make them play some of the best football they've ever played. And it's just something to watch. It could derail them completely, and maybe Tulane somehow shocks them in Oxford, or they could blow them out, go on to the quarterfinal, and play a very, very competitive game with the Georgia Bulldogs. We'll have to see. I agree with you, though. I'm picking Ole Miss over Tulane. I think they cover as well. I believe in Ole Miss. And then the only real thing I want to talk about this next game between Oregon and James Madison, I don't know if you've been on Twitter, but James Madison Twitter has been dominating, dude. I don't know if you've seen any of it, but it's been electrifying.
I have
James
not.
Madison is basically pulling up footage of slow-mo videos of Oregon, and they're like, oh, they're this slow? Like, they're making jokes like, oh, are they really this slow? Wow. Like, this is an easy win. Or they're pulling up footage of sped-up James Madison highlights, and they're like, look how fast we are. You have no chance, Oregon. They're just bantering between each other. It's fun banter. They've been dominating Twitter. I can't lie.
Oregon by 40 next.
Alonzo Barnett's a good quarterback. Wayne Knight's a very good running back for James Madison. Billy Napier won't be coaching for James Madison. It still will be Bob Chesney.
You can just say Oregon's going to blow this team out. You don't got to give stats. You don't got to go into specifics. Holy cow. Oregon's going to win this game by a lot. Let's move on to the quarterfinals.
Oregon is going to win this game by a lot. As Spencer said, let's move on to the quarterfinal.
Yeah.
The quarterfinal matchup, first game will be New Year's Eve. Cotton Bowl. Ohio State's in that. You have Ohio State, Texas A&M. I have Ohio State, Miami.
Yeah, this is going to be a near and dear matchup to me because it's my family's teams with Ohio State and Texas A&M. I said after the LSU game, my second team I'd be cheering for through the playoffs was Texas A&M unless they played Ohio State. And, of course, Ohio State's first matchup would be against Texas A&M. I know my family plans to be down at the Cotton Bowl if it comes to that, if they win in College Station. They mentioned something about me going down there for the game. We will see.
Get media
But
credentials, my boy. That's what you should do.
I'm gonna pick Ohio State. This Ohio State team, I expect to play pissed off. I expect to play with a new resurgence, especially in that offense. The offensive play calling was horrendous in the game against Indiana. I'd argue Ohio State played a like C- game against the Hoosiers and only lost by 3. So I have no questions about this defense. None. My only questions are with the offense with Brian Hartline juggling 2 jobs, with the OC job at OSU and the head coaching job at USF, which I think is stupid that we're having these conversations that he's a head coach and an OC, but that's for another day. I fully expect Ohio State to get the run game going again with Bo Jackson. I expect them to pass the ball to Jeremiah Smith because Jeremiah Smith is pissed off about not winning the Biletnikoff. I just expect this team to play with a vengeance. I expect this team to play with a little bit more fire, a little bit more tempo, a little bit more urgency. Because while I do think that they are one of the best teams, if not the best team in the country on paper, they have nobody to blame but themselves if they lose, because if they play like they did against Indiana, they're going to get outed by Texas A&M. They played terrible on third down, third goal-to-goal situations. It was some of the worst offensive play calling I've ever seen. And they need to fix that. They need to get back to what they do best while getting their receivers out wide and get the run game established with Bo Jackson. So I'm going to go with Ohio State to win the Cotton Bowl back-to-back years.
Yeah, Ohio
It would
State.
technically be OSU won the Cotton Bowl in the same year twice.
Would be.
They won in January, and then they would
Yep.
win they win New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
That's funny.
And they do it in the state of Texas against the Aggies
Yep.
for you. With me, I have the Hurricanes of Miami playing in it. I think Miami could be what I said about Ole Miss. They made the playoff. They've been playing hot. They could go on a bit of a run here. I think their defense matches up pretty well against Ohio State's offensive line. If you get Ruben Bain Jr. hot, if you move him around onto the right side of Ohio State's offensive line, I think it could be a long day for Ohio State. Although Ohio State's defense, I think, would be the difference. I trust Julian Sayin more than I trust Carson Beck. I trust Ohio State's defense way more than I trust Miami's
O-line
offense.
better be better for this game, especially Tegra Shabola. He was horrendous in
It
that
sounds
game.
like Tegra Shabola is actually injured and more than likely will not be playing in the Cotton Bowl, period.
Oh,
from what
sweet.
I've heard.
So then we have a better chance. Cool.
So, Ohio State, I like them to win over Miami moving on to the semifinal. And moving on here to the first game on New Year's Day is going to be the Orange Bowl between Oregon and Texas Tech. For both of us, obviously, we don't have James Madison playing in this. For obvious reasons, we love you, James Madison. I'm a group of 5 man at heart. But number 4,
No
Texas
way.
Tech. Number 5, Oregon. My beloved Red Raiders. Spencer, who you got?
Yeah, I'm going to ride your Red Raiders. I'm going to ride Texas Tech to go on to the semifinals. I like the way that they played against BYU. I think Baron Morton is playing very well right now. Their run game is been established. And I trust that defensive line more than any unit on that field, Oregon or Texas Tech. Their secondary is solid when they need to be, and I do think that Oregon will give them fits. Oregon does have a good run game. But I think that Texas Tech's going to be ready. I think that there's going to be something to be said about last year about none of the teams with buys winning a game. I think that's going to be different this year. I think Texas Tech is going to go out there and prove that they're here to stay. I like the way that both sides of the ball are playing, and while I do think Oregon's a very good team, and Dante Moore has been phenomenal this year, their defense has had some issues. And the one thing I know is Texas Tech's defensive line and their defense in general has been great all year. So I trust the Red Raiders to move on to the semifinals.
I feel bad because I feel like I shouldn't even be wearing this shirt right now based off what I'm going to say.
Yep.
Me being the believer of Texas Tech all season, I do feel like they got the short end of the stick playing Oregon in the second round. I'm a believer in Oregon. I think that what Dante Moore's been able to do and what Oregon has been able to do offensively without their best wide receivers all season long needs to be talked about more. Kenyon Sadiq is one of the best tight ends in college football this season. He's really been their playmaker offensively outside of Noah Whittington and their other running backs. Um, if Texas Tech's defense can give Dante Moore a lot of fits, which I think they will at points in this game, I expect this game to be one of, if not the best playoff game, period. This gives me Arizona State-Texas vibe from last year. I think this game could be like that, where this goes into overtime, or this game comes down to the final 2 minutes. Who's the better quarterback? Dante Moore's the better quarterback. Oregon's got the better leader offensively. I don't trust Baron Morton, and Oregon's defense is still very stout. They've got Mateo Uiagalelei on that defensive line. They got Dylan Thieneman in the backfield, one of the best safeties in college football. I trust Oregon offensively more than I trust Texas Tech. Give me the Ducks to move on and beat my beloved Red Raiders. Oregon's going to the semifinal. Boo me in Lubbock if you want. It's okay. I still love you guys in Lubbock. No love lost here. I'm getting down there, all right? I'm going to Lubbock at some point. I don't care. Next quarterfinal game, Rose Bowl. 4 o'clock kickoff, sadly, not a 5 o'clock kickoff. This is absurd, by the way. They moved the kickoff time for the Rose Bowl, so we're not going to see the beloved sunset like we always do. It won't hit the same. Anyway.
I mean, you probably will at the end of the game.
At the end of the game, yeah, but like in the mid of the third quarter? Come on now.
Yeah.
Indiana, number 1. You have Alabama versus Indiana. I have Oklahoma versus Indiana.
It's the Hoosiers. It's their time. Their time to make a run. They've proven it. That defense is insanely good. That defensive line's insanely good. They proved it against Ohio State. And that offense is potent to where they can make plays when needed. Fernando Mendoza won the Heisman, so congrats to him. First Hoosier ever to win the Heisman. And I fully believe that this is Indiana's time to make a run in the playoffs. Alabama's a good team, but Indiana has too much firepower. So give me the Hoosiers in the Rose Bowl.
I agree with you. I don't think it matters whoever plays them. Indiana's playing that good. You got the Heisman Trophy quarterback in the backfield there for Indiana. This offensive line, very good. This defense, exceptional. They are hot. And they've avenged a lot of history this season. It will be intriguing because this entire crowd will be red. How many of it will be Indiana people? I feel like it might be a lot of Hoosiers out there in Pasadena. They've never had a season like this, and I agree. I think it continues. Give me Indiana to win the Rose Bowl. Move on. Have a Big Ten semifinal matchup between Indiana and Oregon for me. Moving on, the final quarterfinal game on the 1st of January, 8 p.m. kickoff, the Sugar Bowl. We both have Georgia versus Ole Miss.
It's Georgia. I trust Georgia more than I trust Ole Miss, and I know that. I'm kind of contradicting to what I said with it's hard to beat a team twice, but losing your head coach, I think, is going to affect them at some point. And going up against this Georgia defense, I just have a feeling that there's just going to be something that happens with Ole Miss to where they're not able to overcome it. I don't think they have the firepower that Georgia has. Georgia's playing as good as anybody right now, especially on defense. Yeah, the rule does not apply if you lost your head coach. So, sorry. I'm going to go with Georgia.
To me, Georgia's playing outside of Indiana the best football right now, period. They've completely dominated the SEC the last month and a half of football. They are completely different after that Alabama loss. They are dominant. Georgia's legit. I like the Ole Miss story. It'd be interesting to see if they throw a wrench in this playoff because Georgia the last couple years has kind of faltered a little bit when it came to postseason play. I wouldn't be shocked if Ole Miss somehow did pull it off and they are somehow in the semifinal. But this game could also turn ugly pretty quickly. I don't expect it to. I think it will be a pretty close competitive game. I believe in Ole Miss. I just believe in Kirby Smart a lot more. So I got the Georgia Bulldogs taking on who do I have them? Oh yeah, Oregon. No, Ohio State. I'm tripping.
Ohio State.
I'm tripping. I forgot the playoff bracket real quick. Georgia, Ohio State. We both agreed there. But moving on to the semifinals, it will be either the Fiesta or Peach Bowl. I think it'll be chosen at that point once the quarterfinals are done. So we don't really know where teams will play, but it is the Fiesta.
It'll be
and
the
Peach Bowl.
Fiesta Bowl if Georgia makes it.
Okay.
Georgia
So
makes it the 3 seed. So Ohio State and Georgia would be playing the Fiesta Bowl.
that makes a lot of sense.
I think
So they play Thursday, January 8th. We'll do the Fiesta Bowl then first. Ohio State, Georgia, 2 versus 3. Ohio State and Georgia have a little history. This comes up with kickers. Will it come down to kickers this time?
This was the toughest matchup for me in the entire playoff. I think both these teams could easily win this game. Both of these teams are two of the best teams in the country with Indiana. I think that there's a tier I think that Indiana, Ohio State, and Georgia are in a tier of their own in terms of teams, playoff teams, in terms of overall talent, and in terms of everything that goes into winning a college football national championship. Those three are in a tier of their own. And this is a tough game to pick. Obviously, the history with a couple years ago with the Noah Ruggles missed kick, you had the Javon Bullard hit on Marvin Harrison Jr. that took him out of the game, that arguably lost the Buckeyes the game. This is going to be an electric semifinal. This is going to be such a good game if it happens. And I believe it does. And at the end of the day, I think that the team with the most talent, the team with the best roster in college football is Ohio State. And I'm going to trust the Buckeyes to find a way and avenge their loss from a few years ago in the Peach Bowl and beat the Bulldogs to advance to the national championship game. I trust this defense with my life. This offense, I think, is going to play with a much, much bigger spark. I think that they're going to play with a lot more urgency in this playoff, sort of what they did last year. Ryan Day has done a good job of motivating his teams for the playoffs. And I feel like this is going to be one of those games where it's going to come down to the wire. And while I don't trust our field goal kicker with a extra point ever, I think that Ohio State's going to play very aggressive in this game. I trust Julian Sayin more than I trust Gunnar Stockton. And I'm going to take the Buckeyes to advance to the national championship game in Miami.
Georgia, Ohio State. You're right. This was the hardest one to pick because does it feel like there might be a little bit of bias here? No, of course there isn't. I really had it set in stone before the end of this year that it felt like this was a collision course for the national championship. And I still kind of feel like whoever wins this game really will win the national championship in my heart. That's what it feels like. Whoever comes out is hoisting that trophy.
So like
10
last
days
year with
later.
Ohio State.
Yep. And it's very hard because we've seen the history with Ohio State and Georgia. Last second field goals, heartbreakers. But I agree with you. I think Ohio State's going to be playing a little bit more angry with a little more urgency. Some guys feel like they got slighted in certain award ceremonies. So I feel like Ohio State's going to be playing with a totally different attitude in the playoff than they did the last few weeks of the season. Georgia, still stout, great defense. You know what you're getting. Gunnar Stockton's played exceptional football. They have not seen a defense like Ohio State's, I don't think.
Nope.
I'm leaning Ohio State in this game with the littlest confidence in any pick because Georgia's also just that good.
This is a coin flip.
It is an absolute coin flip, but give me Ohio State as well to play for another national championship. And then the second semifinal, the Peach Bowl, Friday, January 9th, we would have it set up as Indiana, Texas Tech for you, and I have Indiana, Oregon.
This is another game that I think was a very tough one to pick because I don't Indiana has been playing as good as anybody, and I think Texas Tech has been on fire as of recently, especially with that defense and defensive line. But at the end of the day, I think Indiana's offense is better than Texas Tech's. I trust the Hoosiers more than I trust the Red Raiders, especially on offense. Defensive wise, it's pretty similar. I would say they have two of the best defenses in the country outside of OSU and Georgia. And Indiana's defense showed up against Ohio State. I fully expect them to show up in these games in the playoffs. And at the end of the day, the Indiana Hoosiers are going to be playing for a national championship in football, not in basketball, in football.
Heck, in basketball, they haven't even been that great the last 10
They
years.
are going to construct the statue of Kurt Signetti and Fernando Mendoza outside of whatever athletics complex hosts what little trophies they have. I don't think they have any outside of this, the Big Ten championship. Well, I guess they
have bowl
is
games.
Is it not the old brass spittoon, or is it?
Well, they have Purdue? The old brass spittoon with Michigan State, but then the old oaken bucket.
The old oaken bucket, yeah.
They have both.
So they have those. They got both of those this year, which is cool. But they've never won anything because they've been largely losers in college football. But Kurt Signetti has turned this entire team on a dime, and they're going to be playing for a national championship, setting up a rematch that I know I want, and I know a lot of Buckeye fans want, because they put a lot of things to bed, and it'd be a hell of a national championship game. All Big Ten national championship game too, and an actual Big Ten too, not like Oregon or USC. No, this is legit Big Ten.
Well, either way you slice it for my semifinal matchup, you're going to get an all Big Ten national championship as well. Indiana, Oregon for me. We saw it happen early part of October. Indiana went up to Eugene, Oregon and won by 10 points. And it was a similar way that they beat Ohio State in the Big Ten championship. They got after Dante Moore. He was sacked 5 times, and Oregon, just like Ohio State, protected Dante Moore well all season long, except against Indiana. And to me, that's going to be the difference in this game. Is Oregon better offensively against Indiana's defense? I think Oregon has all the tools and all the pieces to end Indiana's run. I'm picking Oregon. I picked Oregon last year to make the national championship, and it didn't work out that way. But I'm picking them again this year. I have full faith in Dan Lanning. I think they avenged their loss against Indiana. I have Ohio State, Oregon in the national championship. Now we get to January 19th. Hard Rock Stadium in Miami. Imagine if Miami makes it all the way playing in their home stadium. That'd be interesting.
That'd be nuts.
7:30 kickoff on ESPN. You have number 1 and number 2. I have number 2 versus number 5. Ohio State, Indiana. Spence, who you got?
This is the rematch that I want. This is the rematch that I know Buckeye fans want. This is a hell of a national championship game. These are 2 of the best teams in college football. I think, outside of Georgia, it's those 3. Indiana, Ohio State, and Georgia are in the same tier, like I talked about. Ohio State's there is no more motivation you need than this national championship game if you're Ryan Day and this Ohio State team to go out and prove it if this happens. I picked Ohio State to win the national championship last year, and I got clowned for it. And what they do, they won it as an 8 seed. Went all the way through the gauntlet of beating Tennessee, Oregon, Texas, and then Notre Dame in the national championship game. I think the Buckeyes repeat. I think that the Buckeyes go back-to-back. I think they cement themselves as one of the next dynasties in college football. Put up there with Georgia with winning back-to-back a few years ago. I think that they're going to do it this year. I think the Buckeyes are going to play pissed off, especially with Indiana. They need no more motivation than this game. I feel like the offensive line is going to play better, attack the D line more, and I think that the D line is going to attack Indiana's offensive line more and get Fernando Mendoza under pressure constantly. I think this defense, I don't have any question marks, and I think that this offensive play calling is going to play better. And I think at the end of the day, Ohio State will raise the championship trophy again and repeat as national champions.
Ohio State, Oregon. Number 2 versus number 5. Two of the best coaches in college football, Ryan Day and Dan Lanning. Have not seen this matchup since the Rose Bowl last year. Oregon out for blood. Dante Moore, first year as a starting quarterback, has played exceptional football. More than likely will be one of the top quarterbacks in the 2026 NFL Draft. Julian Sayin, Heisman Trophy finalist for the Buckeyes, and will more than likely be back on that stage next year in Columbus. Ohio State's defense, Caleb Downs, Arvell Reese, Sonny Styles. Oregon's defense, Mateo Uiagalelei, Dylan Thieneman. You've got talent all across the field. This, to me, would be a great national championship. We've seen it in the past already, back in 2015, and here we are again. To me, the difference comes down to the defense for Ohio State. This is a generational defense. We say that lightly because 2021's Georgia defense was just as good. However, both of those have been generational defenses within the last 4 years, statistically speaking.
Yep.
I agree with you. I think Ohio State repeats as national champions, which is brutal for us because now they're going to lose in the quarterfinal because we both predicted it. However, they're going to repeat as national champs. They will beat Oregon, Buckeyes, and Ryan Day are starting a new dynasty in college football. Period. Point blank. That's our playoff. That's our real playoff predictions. Say what?
Jacob did pick Ohio State to win the national championship as well.
He had an Ohio State, Indiana national championship just like you. So we will see. The real playoff predictions are here, and there they are. Before we talk a little bit about the transfer portal, though, I need to take a sip of this B&B Zero Sugar Cola. It's refreshing. Moving on to the transfer portal, it has been a little active the last few days here. Quarterback after quarterback after quarterback, and we're not talking about Aiden Childs. We don't need to talk about Aiden Childs on this podcast. I wanted to bring up just a couple guys real quick. Just want to say what?
Future Buffalo Bowl.
Future Buffalo Bowl, Aiden Childs. I was thinking more. He's giving San Jose State Spartan a little bit more, I think. Or maybe an Idaho Vandal. I don't know.
No, he's not going to the FCS.
He's not going to FCS either.
He actually had a pretty solid year.
But Alessio Milivojevic was better.
Yes.
We have some big names to talk about. I'm only throwing out 5 names here, and I want to get a couple schools that you think make the most sense for these guys. Okay? I'm going to start with a backup quarterback this year, but he almost won the starting job at his current school. Talking Kenny Minchey from Notre Dame, Tennessee native. Like I said, he almost had the starting job this year over CJ Carr. It came down to literally the last day. And he hasn't had a lot of action on tape, but I expect a lot of big schools to be interested in Kenny Minchey.
I mean, I feel like we're going to talk about the same schools here with LSU and Indiana and Oregon for these guys.
Could be a little different with Kenny Minchey.
Yeah, not that I don't think he'll go to that high of a program. Maybe something like a high group of 5 team or a lower power 4 team, maybe something like I know Tulane. I don't know if Retzlaff is going to stay or not, or if he would be the starting quarterback next year. It's hard to say. I don't know. He's from Tennessee, but I mean, maybe the Volunteers, but that would be a big time step to step into that role. But I mean, Vanderbilt's not going to need him. because they already got their quarterback set up. So, oh, you know what? Fine, I'll go with Tennessee. Why not?
I've got 3 schools that I wrote down in particular. Tennessee is the first one. I think Tennessee makes a lot of sense, actually, because they will need another quarterback this season with Joey Aguilar being one and done for them. Um, and I think Josh Heupel's a pretty good system for a quarterback to go into. He's a very friendly quarterback system. So I think Tennessee would make a lot of sense. I have North Carolina as a school maybe to watch out for Kenny Minchie. They will probably need a quarterback, and I do not see Gio Lopez being their starter next year. I just don't see it happening with Bill Belichick. But I feel like UNC is going to try and get into the portal and drop a lot of money on guys. And so I feel like he could be one to watch. Cincinnati, I think, is a sneaky one because of Brendan Sorsby is the next name we will talk about. He has now entered the transfer portal as well. They will be looking for a quarterback. So I think Cincinnati could be one, and one more I'll throw out for Kenny Minchie. Why not James Franklin go get him at Virginia Tech? I think that's a
Sure,
sneaky one.
pay all the money you can. I mean, at the end of the day, all these guys are just going to go to whoever pays them the most. So
Yeah. Next one, like I said, Brendan Sorsby from Cincinnati. Maybe one of the more coveted guys that'll be in the portal this year. And there's one school I think that already stands out, and it kind of feels like it's already going to go this way, and that is Texas Tech. Um,
yeah, I'm pretty sure it's going to be Texas Tech for Sorsby. I think that's kind of been set in stone. So,
but he did play at Indiana in the past. Does Kurt Cignetti say, "Why don't you come on back over"?
I think Indiana can do better than Brendan Sorsby, but I don't think Sorsby's bad, but he's not Sam Levitt. Maybe. I mean, it'll be different because he went from Indiana and then he went to Cincinnati. Maybe he goes back, but I feel like Texas Tech is going to be the answer for him.
It's Texas Tech. I think Indiana's a sneaky one. One more, if they don't get the guy that they really want or get the guys at the top of their list, maybe Miami gets in the Brendan Sorsby sweepstakes. Who knows? But it feels like Texas Tech because Baron Morton is gone. Will Hammond will be coming back from injury, tore his ACL earlier in the year, so they'll need some quarterback depth and some quarterback controversy maybe talk about in Lubbock next year. So I like Brendan Sorsby to go to Texas Tech. Let's go up to DJ Lagway, shall we? Because DJ Lagway, the number 1 overall quarterback in his recruiting class coming in, just hasn't been great. And he's leaving Florida, and I think it's best for both parties. And a lot of suitors will be coming after DJ Lagway.
Yeah. Obviously with us talking about I don't think it'll be LSU. I feel like LSU is going to be Sam Levitt if he ends up ultimately leaving Arizona State. For Lagway, I mean, depends on who wants to take a chance on him because he had issues with the coaching, obviously, and he didn't really play all that great at North Carolina, or not North Carolina, Grace, at Florida. North Carolina, maybe, because they're going to need something like that. A spark. Bill Belichick needs something, and maybe he just throws all of his money in on a guy with high upside. It all depends on if a Power 4 program, a top Power 4 program, goes after him and wants to take a chance on him because he didn't really play well at North Florida like we talked about, but he showed signs of promise. I don't know. Whoever throws the most money, pretty much. That's all these quarterbacks. Whoever throws the most money at them. And it's the same schools. It's the same schools that need the quarterbacks for next year. Indiana, possibly, because Kurt Cignetti is going to have the biggest, ace to play. Hey, I just got a transfer and he won the Heisman, so why don't you do it next? I don't know, man.
I think DJ Lagway is probably the more intriguing one to see because I feel like the same schools are still going to be interested in him as the other guys, but I think he actually has better play than Dylan Raiola. I think we will know where Lagway goes before Dylan Raiola from Nebraska because I think Raiola honestly at points looked worse than Lagway, but we'll get into that a little bit later. I do think LSU is going to be one to talk about with Lagway. I think Lane Kiffin thinks he could possibly fix whatever's been going on there. One school to really watch for Lagway because of family ties is Baylor. Baylor could be one in on DJ Lagway, and they've gotten fairly similar quarterbacks and similar prototypes of DJ Lagway in the past. So I think Baylor is a sneaky one. I'm bringing up Tennessee yet again if they don't get a guy like Kenny Minchie. I think he could be someone who could benefit from Josh Heupel's offensive system. Miami could be one to watch. I think Miami's going to be more in the Dylan Raiola and Sam Levitt sweepstakes, but that's still one to watch for DJ Lagway. Maybe Florida State, keep them in, go to an arch nemesis of Florida. Who knows? DJ Lagway is the most intriguing one because wherever he ends up, it just seems I don't know. I really don't know with him compared to the others. I feel like I know more about Sam Levitt. I know more about Dylan Raiola. Maybe Oregon even. Who knows? Let's go to Dylan Raiola from Nebraska. The thing about Dylan Raiola, he's got the broken fibula, so he will possibly even miss time next year. He might not start right away. So that's a caveat with him. So it'll be intriguing. Does he pull a Dante Moore? Someone mentioned that. I don't know. Someone said he might pull a Dante Moore where he goes to a big-time program where he can sit a year. I don't see that happening with Raiola at all.
But I could see Oregon being that team that he goes to. With Oregon needing a quarterback, obviously with the broken fibula, it's going to be interesting to see when his timetable is for him to get back. But I mean, you could always bring in 2 transfer quarterbacks. You don't have to bring in like a high level one. You bring in Dylan Raiola, and then you bring in a solid quarterback. And see, maybe like wait for a few weeks and then throw Dylan Raiola in there. I mean, Florida might need a new quarterback. It all depends. These head coaches it's all going to be about who likes who. And with Dylan Raiola, maybe he just ends up going to Texas Tech, and because Patrick
It's not
Mahomes,
happening. I've heard Texas Tech is not going to be in there. So that's one
I don't
school you
know.
can cross
Well,
off
he
with
wants
Dylan
to be
Raiola.
Mahomes so bad. Maybe he ends up going there and sitting a year behind Brendan Sorsby, and then he'll be the quarterback the next year, and he'll be able to throw off his Mahomes. He can actually wear a Mahomes jersey, and just fully embrace who he wants to be. So,
I have heard Texas Tech's not getting involved with Dylan Raiola, so I don't really expect it to happen. I agree with you with Oregon. I think Oregon's going to be in play here. And I also agree with Florida. I think Florida's going to be a serious player for Dylan Raiola as well. Why not Penn State? Even if they keep Ethan Grunkemeyer. I know that the Rocco Becht and Iowa State connection with Matt Campbell could work, but he's got more tools to his disposal now. He could be like, hey, Dylan, I watched you. We weren't that far from each other. I was down in Ames, Iowa. You were up in Lincoln, Nebraska. I was watching you ball. Why not come over to Penn State? Stay in the Big Ten as well, just like Oregon. But why not? I feel like Penn State could be sneaky. I think they need someone big, and they need to form that roster. So. And then the last one, Sam Levitt. I think Sam Levitt's probably the best quarterback in the portal this year. I think he's going to be
LSU.
Going to be one.
LSU or Indiana.
LSU.
But I think LSU.
LSU, Indiana, Miami, Oregon. That's where I feel like it
basically
is.
Anybody. Basically anybody.
I think that Levitt, you said LSU. I feel like LSU. I'm also leaning Indiana. I think Indiana because of Curt Cignetti and his magical powers that he has down there in
Baton Rouge, Bloomington. Baton Rouge, Bloomington.
Gumbo.
Baton Rouge and Gumbo. Bloomington and corn, I guess. I don't know what.
Deep fried pork, I think. I don't know.
Yeah.
We're gonna look this up real quick. The food of Indiana. The best or the state food.
Chili, I guess. Because Midwest and people love the chili.
I was right. Breaded pork tenderloin sandwich.
It's probably pretty good, actually. But it doesn't hold a candle to gumbo or jambalaya or any of that amazing Cajun food down there.
LSU, it's got to be, right? Moving forward, we've figured it out. It's all the food. Sam Levitt, welcome to LSU. We've got more picks to talk about here for college football for this week. First one, we're going to the FCS semifinals this weekend, okay? I don't know if you've paid attention out there, whoever's watching this, but the FCS playoffs have been electrifying, okay? Because we have two schools in the same state fighting in the semifinal in one matchup, and we have a team who was unseeded taking on a 12 seed. Cinema. All right. We're going to start first matchup. Number 2, Montana, the Grizz, versus Montana State Bobcats. This game is at Montana State in Bozeman, Montana.
But Montana's the higher seed.
I lied. I meant 3 seed Montana and 2 seed Montana State. See, when you get the Montanas mixed up, it happens. It's 2 and 3. Montana's the 3. Montana State did beat Montana first time around at Montana.
Yeah, the rule does not apply to FCS schools. I'll go with Montana State.
The rule does apply still to FCS schools. I'm going with Montana in the Grizz. Give me the Grizz to go to the national championship, all right? And then the other semifinal, we have Illinois State on the road yet again. They've won 3 road games to start it off, and they're on the road going to Philadelphia to take on the Villanova Wildcats in football. Will it be the Redbirds or will it be the Wildcats?
Villanova is a basketball school. Give me the unranked Illinois State Redbirds.
I'm going with the Illinois State Redbirds as well. We both agree there.
Give me the unranked team.
The unranked team is going to the national championship. All right. But on to our actual bowl games. As we have the Union Home Mortgage Gasparilla Bowl to kick it off here with the Memphis Tigers and the NC State Wolfpack. NC State is 6-point favorites. Memphis, Ryan Silverfield's going to Arkansas. They've got Charles Huff coming in from Southern Miss to be their head coach next year. Who you got?
I'll take the favor in NC State. I took a Power 4 school over a Group of 5 school last time, and it worked out pretty well with Washington over Boise State. I'll take NC State.
I agree with you. I'm going with NC State. 1, because my brother-in-law is a diehard NC State fan. 2, I will be in the city of Raleigh for this game. 3, because C.J. Bailey is maybe one of the least talked about quarterbacks in the country. He's been very good for the Wolfpack this season. Give me NC State. Our second bowl game is one near and dear to my heart. I think this might be personally my completely unbiased opinion, the best bowl game, period. The famous Idaho Potato Bowl up on the Smurf turf at Albertson Stadium. This game is on Monday, December 22nd, as it is the Washington State Cougars and the Utah State Aggies. Utah State led by Bryson Barnes, if you remember that name from Utah. 3-point favorites ahead of the Cougars. Cougars losing their head coach, Jimmy Rogers, over to Iowa State, as they got a new head coach coming into town up there in Pullman.
Give me Utah State. That's it. I don't really watch either of these teams.
How dare you? How dare you? We talk college football. How do you not watch either of these teams? Come on, Spencer. Come on, man.
You didn't even know
Washington State Toledo
last night.
Didn't know what? I didn't know
you didn't know who Tennessee's quarterback was last night. So.
I did. I said Steve Aguilar. Okay, we don't need to let people.
No. You had to think about it for a while.
I did have to think about it. It just didn't hit my head right. Okay. It's what happens when Nico leaving, okay? When people leave, they come and go. That's the problem. Anyway, I'm going to disagree with you. I've got the Cougars of Washington State winning simply because they beat Toledo earlier in the year. And so I'm going with the Cougs out of Pullman.
Very in-depth analysis.
Even more in-depth analysis for this bowl game because the greatest name of all time happens to be our school. Alumni of Toledo are playing in the Bush's Boca Raton Bowl of Beans. Tuesday, December 23rd at, I believe, 2 o'clock is the kickoff on ESPN. The Toledo Rockets taking on the Louisville Cardinals. 8.5-point favorites is Miller Moss and Jeff Brom.
I'll go with a completely unbiased answer and say the Rockets win this game. Completely unbiased.
Explain where it's unbiased.
I think that I think that Toledo's been playing really well recently. Their defense, and while they did lose their defensive coordinator, I do think that even with losing him and losing Jason Candle, I love the way this program is going, to the trajectory of this program. They still have the players on that roster. Tucker Gleason's been playing better recently. Their run game with Chip Trayanum has been good this year, and their defense has been playing stellar. I think Louisville's a good team, but I'm going to say screw all the rules and screw everything and just say Toledo, because why the hell not?
It's fair.
I'm already up in the standings, so hey, man.
I would like to agree with you. I do think Toledo will play very well in this game. I do have Louisville winning, but I don't have them covering. I think Toledo covers the spread.
Sad.
Minus 8.5. However, I'm picking Louisville. You're saying it's sad. I picked them to already beat or lose to a Kentucky team in week 1. I'm not gonna sway from that. The state of Kentucky obviously owns our Rockets. I love you, Toledo.
No, they don't. We beat Western Kentucky.
We did beat Western Kentucky, but we're talking like Power 4 schools. Kentucky beat us. I think Louisville's gonna beat us too, but not by a lot. I do trust Jeff Brom over a man by the name of Winter.
Jeff Brom is going to be interviewing for the Michigan head coaching job soon, so he's not going to be focused on this bowl game. We're going to win we're going to win the Beans Bowl. The Beans Bowl is going to come home to Toledo.
For that reason, Spencer, I think you just swayed my opinion.
The Beans Bowl.
You swayed my opinion. Actually, I'm going to change as we speak. I originally was going Louisville, but I'm not anymore. Give me the Rockets in a landslide. I've swapped. Yep, you're right. Moving on here to the last bowl game. This is honestly even the same thing as Beans, if you really want to think about it that way. The Scooters Coffee Frisco Bowl. Our last. We got Bush's baked beans. We got coffee beans. What a world we live in. This game out of Frisco, Texas. UNLV, the Running Rebels, taking on the Ohio Bobcats. Elite quarterback game, by the way. Anthony Colandrea, Parker Navarro. This is cinema. I can't lie. This is a sneaky good bowl game.
I'm a Mac guy, so go Bobcats.
I'm also a Mac guy. In fact, for the trip I'll be going on, I have my Mac hoodie packed and ready to go to show off for everyone down south. For that reason, I'm picking UNLV. So I have to keep picking UNLV because I had them winning and making the playoff. Even though it didn't get me right the last time when we had conference championship week.
You know why I'm picking Ohio? Because Dan Mullins is going to be interviewing for the Michigan head coaching job, and he's not going to have enough. He's not going to be able to focus.
I didn't go.
It's going to be the MAC.
It's going to be the MAC Ohio
all day.
I didn't go to Ohio, so you can't sway me on this one. I'm sticking with UNLV. All right. And that is our bowl picks. All right. Need a sip of water to cleanse the palate real quick before we keep going on here. We have still a lot to discuss as we are about an hour and 20 minutes into this. Thank you for staying so long, all you people out there. You should subscribe to the channel. You should hit the follow button. You should hit the push notification bell down below to stay up to date on all new videos. Hit that link down there. Add into the description. There's a lot of them down there. There's Instagram pages. Go follow us on our own personal Instagram pages. Go follow us on the Ball and Beats Media Instagram. Go follow us on Ball and Beats TikTok. We go live every Monday night at 11 p.m. Monday night breakdowns. We were just live last night. You missed Santa Claus. He was there. He was giving out presents to all the people. And that's what we do around here is we give out presents because our presence is just enough. All right. Moving on to the NFL. How about the Buffalo Bills? Huh? 21-0 deficit against the New England Patriots, and they came back, and you called your shot. You texted me in the middle of that and said the Bills are coming back. And what did they do? They did exactly that.
I've seen my team blow a 24-7 lead at halftime. What about you? Yeah. New England played like shit in the second half. Buffalo, I had a feeling was going to. There's no way the Patriots were ever going to blow out the Bills. When it was 21-0, I'm like, what? I almost put a bet down, and I should have put a bet down for the Bills to win that game at halftime because it was like plus like 600. Put like 20, $40 on it, win like a couple hundred. Like it would have been insane. But yeah, Josh Allen is proving to me why he's going to continue to be a MVP candidate for years to come. Obviously, he's been playing like it. This Bills team is legitimately just him. Like their offense is solid with James Cook, with Dawson Knox, with Dalton Kincaid. But like, and their defense isn't that great though. But they did stop Drake May and the Patriots' potent offense in the second half. They only gave up 7 points, and the Bills had a miraculous comeback that they absolutely needed. Now they have a shot to win the division. I still think New England's going to get it done because even if they lose to the Ravens this Sunday, they would be tied with the Bills, and all they have to do is beat the Dolphins and beat the Jets, and they win the AFC East. So it's going to be tough, dude. But at the end of the day, the Bills did what I thought they would. The Bills are a championship caliber team. They had this mindset. The Patriots are newer to this under the new regime with Mike Vrabel and Drake May and this offense and the defense, who played very well in this first half, played bad in the second half. A lot of pass interference calls, a lot of flags, a lot of Josh Allen rolling out, throwing it downfield, finding an open man. Whether it was Khalil Shakir or either of his tight ends. The Bills needed this game, and they absolutely got it. And even if the Bills make a wild card, they're going to be one of the most dangerous teams in the AFC because they don't have the Chiefs to face this year.
They don't have their arch nemesis waiting for them. It's a sad world we live in. Has Josh Allen closed the gap between him and Matthew Stafford for the MVP?
A little bit, but it's still Stafford by a solid margin. Right now, at least.
Thing is, I agree with you, but I've heard a lot of other people differ. I've heard some people say Josh Allen should be the MVP over. I don't agree with that yet.
No,
Matthew Stafford has almost 40 passing touchdowns on the year, where Josh Allen only has
4 or 5 interceptions. It's insane.
Yeah, I agree. Matthew Stafford still deserves it. But speaking of old quarterbacks, we have the legit unction going on. We had Phillip Rivers at 44 playing on Sunday for the Indianapolis Colts, almost beating Seattle. It wasn't awful.
Should have beat Seattle.
It wasn't
Should have beat Seattle.
He did throw an interception, but he played fairly decent. He had the moment also when he was rolling into the pocket and slipped down. He looked like an absolute.
You can tell he just got off the couch.
I mean,
you can tell he just.
That was the biggest Phillip Rivers ever looked as well. He looked like Big Ben out there.
Yep. Yeah, it was so fun. It was so cool to see Phillip Rivers. Because I was in high school the last time he played, and he was kind of that last generation of quarterbacks with Brady and Roethlisberger and Aaron Rodgers, who will be retiring at the end of this year. So we're losing these guys that we grew up watching, and it's a new generation of quarterbacks. But the guy can't throw the ball 10 yards down the field.
He definitely can.
It was a lot of checkdowns. It was a lot of handoffs, but as he would say, dang numbit, it doesn't matter.
He would say
the Colts
that
almost
too.
won that game.
He would exactly say it word for word what you just said.
The Colts almost won that game, and they should have won that game. Their defense let them down, and Sam Darnold did enough to win the game at the end of the day and got them into field goal range, and Jason Myers hit a 56-yard field goal. Their defense was great. Both these defenses were great. But you can tell Seattle didn't really take this game or this thing seriously because they were sluggish the entire game until the end of the third, beginning of the fourth quarter when they finally woke up and decided to play football. Yeah, it really sucked because I would have loved to see the Colts go in there and win. Philip Rivers off the couch wins in Seattle against the NFC like heavyweight. But he didn't look bad. He didn't look bad. He threw an interception, but that was a garbage time interception that he just had to heave the ball and hope for it. So it was not a ton of his fault. He threw a touchdown pass, which was really cool. If this guy ever scrambles out of the pocket, I pray to whatever defender has to tackle that because it's going to be the most hilarious thing of all time. He has no mobility. He is so old. He looks bad. Like he looks overweight for a quarterback, but dang numbit, like he would say, he did the job. He put some points on the board for him. He got him in field goal range a bunch of times. They moved the ball mainly with Jonathan Taylor and checkdowns, and he didn't throw the ball 10 yards down the field at all, but it was fun. It was cool to see. It was cool to see from my childhood because I forgot how weird his throwing motion is until he threw the ball.
With his shoulder locked a little bit, and it's
like all one motion. And he throws his body into it too. It was so odd, but it's what I grew up watching him on the San Diego Superchargers, and when he went to Indianapolis. So
I will say this though as well. I think it's almost a knock on the actual development of quarterbacks that the Colts have to go out and get Philip Rivers of all people instead of a young guy who
should tell you all you need to know about Anthony Richardson.
Well, that too. That should tell you everything you need to know about Anthony Richardson. But it's also just a testament of quarterback development in the modern era of football because it just doesn't happen like it used to. Because nowadays, coaches are on the line consistently for their jobs. And if you're not good right away, you're not going to play. And that's just where we are in football. And it's kind of my testament for a conversation I'm going to have a little bit later about a quarterback currently in the league. But I can see where some people would kind of feel like, why Philip Rivers getting another chance? He hasn't played in 5 years. Where you have some guys out here actively trying to continue to get their shot, But at the same time, it was cool to see him play, and it's cool to see that he actually wasn't half bad still after not playing for 5 years and show that he still has a little bit in the tank. He had a little bit in the tank, but one team doesn't have a shot with their tank anymore. That tank is on E, and that's the Kansas City Chiefs. First time since 2014 not making the postseason. First time in Patrick Mahomes' career he won't be in the postseason, but it wouldn't matter if they made it this year as he tore his ACL in this past game against the Chargers. What a world we're living in.
Tragic. You hate to see it. It breaks your heart. You feel for Kansas City fans who have to go through this heartbreak of not making the playoffs. They've gone through a lot the last few years, and it really sucks for them for all this bad things that have happened to them in the past. And you just really feel for this entire fan base and city for how badly the season went and how badly they've been and how they're declining and how Kelsey sucks and how their offense is terrible and their defense is not bad, but not great. They got no D line. They got
and you
no
feel because
O-line.
the officials also were calling some bad calls for them.
You just feel for them.
You
and
do.
Deep down in your heart, you feel so terrible for them for what they've had to go through this season.
I agree with you. Actually, I think that's where you just leave it and we move on to the next discussion. Rams Lions, the Amon-Ra and Puka Nacua show.
JMO too. JMO had like
too.
140 yards.
Maybe the best game of the year. One of the top 3 games of the year, I would say.
It was a very good game. Third quarter was horrendous, but other than that, it was a very good game. Look, the Rams are the best team in the NFL. They play like it. Matthew Stafford had a stupid interception. I mean, dude, it's a screen, and it's a defensive lineman. Just chuck the ball at the ground. Jared Goff does it all the damn time. Yeah, like the Rams offense is insane. They have weapons everywhere. And I know Devontae Adams went down and that's going to suck for him, but they still have Puka Nacua. They still have Kyron Williams. Colby Parkinson had himself a good game for the Rams. I have no they're going to have no problems making a deep playoff run, and it sets up this massive Thursday night game at Seattle for them. But in terms of the Lions, I talked about it all yesterday. I'm not going to get into it a ton. Their offensive line was better this game, but it wasn't amazing. You had Tristan Colon at the left guard spot because they had to. Coyote Owasika was hurt, so they couldn't play him. And injuries have just caught up to this defense. It's as simple as that. They got these bums that no one's heard of. Well, I guess people have heard of Avonte Maddox, but they've got Home Depot workers again out there with losing 2 all-pro safeties, with losing a corner who I would argue was better before he got hurt, and Terrion Arnold. Linebackers have been pretty healthy, and so is the D-line, but the D-line's been terrible too, and that's another big point, that the defensive line for the Lions has been terrible these last few games. Hutchinson hasn't done much. DJ Reader and Aleem McNeil have been nothing in terms of up the middle. They were awful at stopping the run against. Kyron Williams and Blake Corum were just running 4 or 5 yards every single play. They didn't stop them behind the line ever. They didn't stop them at the line of scrimmage ever. It was just 4 or 5, sometimes 6, 7 yards every single time. And it was so annoying because that was this team's identity, is stopping the run, and they did a terrible job of doing it. And the D-line has to be better, and it has to be addressed in the offseason. And it better be addressed in the offseason, or else there's going to be question marks with Brad Holmes about him. His past few drafts haven't been great. His first few drafts, he hit on damn near everything. He got all pros in late rounds with Amon-Ra St. Brown. He had a run in 2023 where he got Gibbs, he got Jack Campbell, he got Sam Laporta, and he got Brian Branch. All 4 of those guys are Pro Bowl level players. Some of them are all pros. But you're not going to hit on all of them. The 2024 draft wasn't great. Terrion Arnold hasn't been great, but he's been somewhat serviceable at times. You got, I guess, Christian Mahogany, who's been a decent guard. But other than that, terrible 24 draft. And this last draft was a massive nothing. They haven't really gotten an impact guy. And they threw 3 third-round picks at Isaac Tesla, and he hasn't done much of anything. Tyleik Williams in the first round. Tyleik's been okay, but he hasn't been great. They've thrown DJ Reader in there more than him, but DJ Reader is gone after this year anyway because his contract's up, and they're not going to re-sign him. So Tyleik will be against Aleem next year, and Tyleik's been fine, but their D-line hasn't been great. They need to make either some trade acquisitions, or they need to sign an opposite edge of Aiden Hutchinson. I'm tired of Marcus Davenport. I'm tired of these no-name players, and I know Al-Qadim Muhammad has 9 sacks this season. But that's not your long-term answer. It's not.
Right.
He's done those in games where he's playing against backups. When it comes to a big game, he's not doing that against these guys. And while he's been a cool story, and I wouldn't mind keeping him as like a rotational piece if he wants to get some snaps in, they need to go in and they need to do what the Texans did and just completely invest in that D-line and with a Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson-esque defensive line. And they haven't done that. They've given Aiden Hutchinson essentially Aleem McNeil, who has been an all-pro level D tackle, but hasn't been good since he came back from his injury this year. And the interior has been mainly subpar this year. And the other edge, it's been rough. The D-line has been the biggest focal point of this team this year. There's been no defensive pressure damn near ever. And it comes from the front office of not adding you don't even have to get an all-pro guy. Just get a guy who can, take up maybe an extra offensive lineman, get 2, free up Hutch, free up Aleem McNeil, free up Tyleek or DJ Reader. And they haven't done that. Lions fans have been asking that for years. I wanted Will Anderson more than I wanted air to breathe in that 2023 draft, and he went to the Texans, and now look at him. The Texans have the best defense in football, arguably, and their defensive line is insane. It's insane with Hunter and Will Anderson. And I know Hunter got hurt, but still, yeah, they're going to have a lot of stuff to address this offseason. But in terms of now, you got to go 3-0, and you got to hope the Bears lose too. You're going to be cheering for the Packers against the Bears this weekend, and you're going to be hoping that the Lions can take care of business against Pittsburgh and Minnesota, and then get to Week 18 in Chicago and hope it's for a playoff spot. If not, I would still say it's largely been a disappointing year in terms of the Lions, because they have gone win-loss for the last 3 months.
2 months, 3 months. It feels like
two and a half, 3 months. They haven't won back-to-back games since.
You haven't lost back-to-back games though.
No, we haven't. But what's the point if you're just going to go win-loss and go 500 for over 2 months? They haven't won back-to-back games since the Browns and the Bengals game, which was week 4 and week 5, like October 5th or something like that. So about 2.5 months, going on 3 months soon. But it's been largely a disappointment of a season, especially after winning 15 games last year. And I know you lost both your coordinators, but even with your offensive play caller, with John Morton, who has been solid but not great, Dan Campbell took over the plays, and they have statistics-wise one of the best offenses in football, and I still believe it. But the main concern is the defensive line and the defensive injuries, as it was last year. It's the same thing that we dealt with last year, and the strength and conditioning staff has got to get questioned, because this is ridiculous. You don't see this from every single team. You don't see this back-to-back years where a team just gets completely decimated by injuries. And it derailed a Super Bowl team last year, and it's derailed a playoff team this year. At the end of the day, we'll see. Maybe they make the playoffs. Maybe they sneak in as the 7th seed. But, am I really going to be confident in this team to go on the road and beat the Rams or the Seahawks or if they beat the Bears on the road, then I will have confidence in them, but that'd be back-to-back games. And in the NFL, beating a team 3 times in one season is unheard of.
Yeah.
That's rarely ever happened. And then, at Philly, they lost at Philly, it's going to be a massive question mark that they're going to have to answer with this entire defense as a whole, but they have a shot. So it's not like the season's over yet. I can't talk about mock drafts yet. But talk to me after the Pittsburgh game, see how I feel. Pittsburgh won yesterday at the time of the recording against Miami. Pretty big win for them. Seeing as Baltimore is 7-7. But I don't know, dude. It's been largely a disappointment of a season in Detroit. So we'll see how things shape up by the end of the year.
It's all right. Based off of Pittsburgh's schedule the rest of the year, I think you're going to be okay. But we all know 9-8 is incoming for Pittsburgh. We know it's happening. So,
yep. Who's their last 3 games?
You, me, Baltimore.
Oh.
It lines up perfect. They lose
my gosh.
to Detroit. They beat Cleveland and lose to Baltimore.
They lose to Baltimore. 9-8.
9-8. That's what's going to happen. That's exactly what's going to happen. We already know what's going on there.
Yep.
Yeah, currently your Lions are the 8. The first people on the outside looking into the postseason. Both the AFC and the NFC this year,
unbelievable.
Their wild cards are nuts. Both sides of the spectrum. Where you have
unbelievable.
Indianapolis currently as the 8th seed and outside looking in, who's been one of the hotter teams before Daniel Jones going down. And even though the last couple of weeks with Daniel Jones, they kind of fell off a little bit.
The Lions could win out and still lose if the Bears don't lose to either Green Bay or San Francisco.
Yeah.
So the Lions could be 11-6 and miss the playoffs. That's insane. That's insane.
It's the kind of season we're having across the board for both the AFC and the NFC right now. There's one more thing I wanted to talk about before we get into our NFL picks and wrap the show up. One guy in the league has gotten a lot of hate on social media throughout the season, the way he's played. Some of it is deserved, I would say. But I'm feeling like Colin Cowherd defending Sam Darnold here. Okay, so let me be. He played very good on Sunday night against Dallas. Even though he had an interception, even though he overthrows Justin Jefferson an awful lot. I think J.J. McCarthy is a little bit better than what people have been saying. I think he's
been playing better recently.
Him throwing to Jalen Nailor has been a lot better. Him throwing to anyone not number 18 has looked much more promising. When he throws to 18, it's like, oh, I got to get the ball to Justin Jefferson. Got to throw him the ball. Boom. So he overthrows him. I think he deserves a little bit more respect than he's been given. He's a top 25 quarterback, not top 32. Even though statistically
you said top what?
Top 25. He's 25. He's 25, but
he's been largely bad this year, but he has been playing better recently. And the thing with JJ is it's not like he's never shown flashes. I mean, he's had really bad games, but he's shown flashes of looking very good. He's made good throws. He's made plays that not a lot of quarterbacks may make. He is somewhat of a mobile quarterback to where he can roll out of the pocket and throw it deep. His issue is he's very inconsistent with his throws. Yeah. You saw it even in the Dallas game. He missed wide open plays to Justin Jefferson, hurting my fantasy team. But then you saw that back shoulder fade throw to Jalen Nailor,
which was throw.
Unbelievable throw. It was a perfect ball.
It was awful mechanics, but it was a great throw. And I know one thing about Minnesota is they still have a lot of faith in J.J. McCarthy. They want to work on his mechanics a little bit this offseason. That's kind of been out there and already been said. I feel like J.J. McCarthy...
He's a lot like Josh Allen coming into the league. Josh Allen did the same thing J.J. did.
Yes.
He was very, hit or miss. He picked up his right leg when he threw the ball. He kind of looked like it was like a baseball, throwing it, but Josh Allen adjusted and now he's an MVP candidate every year. Do I think JJ can get there? I don't know. I got to see it first, but we said the same thing about Josh Allen. And that's the one thing he's got going for him. He's in arguably one of the best situations in Minnesota. He's got a serviceable to solid defense with Brian Flores, and you have the best quarterback whisperer in Kevin O'Connell, and he has a good O-line. He has fantastic weapons. It's not like he's in Tennessee to where he has absolutely nothing and Cam Ward's just, being thrown out there to die and play backyard football all the time. No, he is in one of the great situations in the NFL. The reason why the Vikings are 6-8 is because of JJ. He's been largely bad this year. And I think this is going to be a big offseason for him in Minnesota. Obviously, I don't think Minnesota's going to move on from him. I think it's been way too early. I mean, he was out all last year. He sat behind Darnold. And now this year he's gotten his chance, and he's been largely bad, but he's shown flashes. But I think that these last 3 games are going to be a big indicator of what's going to happen in the offseason. I think that if he continues to show flashes, there's no doubt in my mind that he'll be the Vikings quarterback next year. They kind of have no choice, to be fair, because they kind of put all this into JJ because they let go of Daniel Jones and Sam Darnold, and both those quarterbacks have had really good years this year with their respective teams. But I will give JJ this. We all dogged on him for a while. He has looked better. He's looked better, and while he has to always have an interception a game, except the game against Washington, he's been better. He has been better. Is he good? No, not yet. I'm not ready to say that yet, but he's serviceable. If you have a serviceable quarterback, you can win games. He's not bad. He's not good. He is serviceable. He's top 25, probably 25. Maybe 20, maybe 20 in that range of 20 to 22. I won't give him 25, to be fair, but he's done this to where he's shown good games. He had a really solid opening game against the Bears and then followed it up with a horrendous game against the Falcons in week 2. And
Yeah.
then he came back from his injury, had a great game against the Lions. He did throw an interception, but he led them down the field. And then he had a horrendous game against who did they play after the Ravens, I believe. They played Baltimore after the Lions game. And then he went to Green Bay and had a horrendous game against the Packers. Yeah, like he's been serviceable. He's shown flashes of good, he's shown flashes of bad. But that's what's going to come with a young quarterback. And if he develops, and there's no better person to do it than Kevin O'Connell, I think he can be a good quarterback in the NFL. But he has to adapt. He has to learn his throwing mechanics need to change. He has to get more consistent with his throws. I mean, like we just talked about, that back shoulder fade to Naylor was unbelievable. It was a fantastic
Nasty.
throw. Perfect throw. Couldn't have been thrown better. And then you have a crossing route on 10, 15 yards down the field where he misses J.J. McCarthy, or not J.J. McCarthy. He misses Justin Jefferson, which would have been an easy touchdown.
Yep.
He's had throws to where he missed it to Jefferson. He's dirted the ball, and then he's had great throws. It's going to be, I'm not going to get, I'm going to, JJ's going to be the quarterback of the Vikings next year.
He is.
I don't think
He's 100%. I agree with you.
Yeah, I don't think that's anything crazy to say because he's kind of the last couple games he's shown flashes. And I think Kevin O'Connell, that game against Dallas was a big game for him. And while that it started off bad with an interception that wasn't completely his fault. I mean, he just threw it and it bounced off of the defensive lineman and it caught it. So I'm not going to give him too much, not going to, discredit him too much. But they won the game. And they got everybody involved except Justin Jefferson again. He has to get Justin Jefferson the ball. Like, come on, dude.
Him and JJ do not have chemistry right now. JJ
No,
and
they
JJ need to figure it out this offseason for sure. And that's been the biggest issue is he's overthrown him constantly all season long. And you saw that frustration on a touchdown Jefferson did score, and it got called back on a holding or an eligible man downfield flag. So. Yeah. And I feel him. It's been a season for Justin Jefferson that he would like to have back. But I think next year you give this offseason time for J.J. McCarthy to develop and change up his mechanics, fix the small details. I see it in J.J. I saw it at the draft, and I came back from the combine that year, and I said, J.J. McCarthy looked like the best guy, even though he had the overthrows. The overthrows were a problem there at the combine. A lot of people took that as a bad thing, but sometimes those overthrows are a good thing because he throws it to where only no one can catch it. If you throw it to where no one can catch it, you play for another down.
Yep.
I think J.J. McCarthy has the tools. Will it happen? I don't know. But it's there. Some guys it's not. JJ, you see it. It just has to continuously happen on a consistent basis. The inconsistencies are his biggest problem, and it needs to fix, and it needs to change.
Yep.
Let's get to our weekly picks and wrap this show up here. Thursday night football. Very good Thursday night game. I will say this. The Thursday night slate this year has been night and day better than what it's been the last 2 years. It has been so fun to watch, and none better than...
This might be the best Thursday night game in a long time.
11-3 versus 11-3. NFC West... on the line. Los Angeles Rams up at Lumen Field against the Seattle Seahawks. The Rams, 1-point favorite, basically a pick 'em in this game. Spencer, who you got?
I got the Rams, man. I think the Rams are just on another level, and I think Seattle's playing very well right now. They just eked out a win over, Uncle Phil. But this defense, while they didn't have a great game against the Lions, I mean, the Lions are one of the best offenses in football. I trust Matthew Stafford more than I trust Sam Darnold by a lot. And this run game is very potent with the Rams. The Seahawks have kind of struggled with Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker this year. And Puka Nacua has been an unbelievable weapon, but so has Jackson Smith and Jigba for Seattle. I think it's going to come down to the defenses. Seattle has a really good defense. Both these teams are phenomenal, but I trust the Rams a little more than I trust than the Seahawks. And Sam Darnold in a big game, I saw it last year. It didn't work out well for him. So I'll go with Matthew Stafford.
I agree with you. The Rams are the best team in the NFL this season.
Yep.
They did win this matchup last time they played, only by 2 points. 21-19 was the final score down at SoFi. Seattle almost had a legit chance there, and I think the same thing's going to happen here. And Seattle could easily win this. It is at their home stadium. I think the Rams are just that much better. Their defense, outstanding. Although it didn't appear that way against the Lions, but you have two of the best offenses in the league going at each other. And that could be the same. I think we could be in for a bit of a shootout in this one as well. Two of the best receivers in the league. Arguably the best quarterback right now in the NFL on one side. Sam Darnold's playing pretty good as well. It'll be a fun one. I've got the Rams. I think they are going to get it done. And then the next game here, Saturday kickoff, fighting for TV time with the college football playoff. First round matchups here. Green Bay, Chicago at Soldier Field. Green Bay without Micah Parsons for the rest of the season. He tore his ACL. The Packers are 1.5-point favorites.
I think losing Micah Parsons is the biggest difference. I talked about it yesterday a little bit. Micah Parsons was this team's like almost entire defense. He brought the pressures. He brought everything. He was their nuclear warhead that they needed and got. And now that he's out for the rest of the year and maybe even some of next year, depending on how long that surgery, recovery time is, I think that's the difference. I'm going to pick the Bears to win this game. I think that the Bears proved that even in Lambeau, they had a shot to win the game at the end. And the Bears, I just think, are playing better right now. I think that the Bears defense has shown up in recent weeks, and their offense is getting better and better under Caleb Williams, and Ben Johnson's done a great job there in his first year in Chicago. So I'm going to take the Bears to beat the Packers.
Chicago is 10-4. That's just shocking. I did not expect year one under Ben Johnson to go this good for them. And then, yeah, you're right. Green Bay losing Micah Parsons is a travesty, honestly, for them. But for some people, they might smile deep down in their hearts. You hate to see it, as they say. I agree with you. I think Chicago right now, they're playing very good football. Caleb Williams has really turned it up a notch in year two. He's got that year two, not sophomore slump, but year two climb. We see that sometimes. It's the opposite. He's having that year two climb. In Chicago with Ben Johnson, it's been a complete difference. And Chicago is balling right now. I'm picking Chicago with you. Give me the Bears. And next matchup here, the battle of the NFC South. These two teams play each other, not just this time, but they play again in 2 weeks at the end of the season. Tampa Bay Buccaneers up in Charlotte taking on the Carolina Panthers. The battle of 7-7.
I don't understand either of these teams, to be completely honest. None of them make sense. They both just lost horrible games in the NFC South. The Panthers lost to the Saints on the road, and the Buccaneers lost to the Falcons at home. None of these teams make sense. Siri, heads or tails? Buccaneers.
I like that. I think that's smart. It's a good way to pick it. For me, because this game is in Charlotte, and no other reason, I'm going with the Panthers. I think the Panthers will get it done. Bryce Young is a dog. And also, Tampa, they've lost 5 of their last 6 games. They were 5-1.
They've been playing really bad. They've been playing. Their defense has not been good recently.
I mean, they just gave up a 14-point deficit in like 10 minutes against the Falcons.
To Kirk Cousins and the Falcons.
Yeah, Kirk Cousins and the Falcons.
They gave up a 4th and 14 to lose that game against the Falcons. I think it started with like a 3rd and like 28 or something like that. It was
3rd and 28 and then 4th and 14.
Yep.
And they gave it up and the Falcons went on to win the game. I will say this, in my weekly pool that I do outside, I was the only one all week who picked the Falcons to win that game. So for that, I give myself my own round of
Congrats.
applause.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Moving on, next matchup. I don't think anyone would have thought at least one of these teams were going to be this good this year, but it's going to be one of the better matchups of the weekend. Jacksonville going to Mile High, taking on the Denver Broncos. Broncos only 3-point favorites.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Denver here. I think Jacksonville's a cool story. I think they're a little bit of a pretender. If I had, even though they are 10-4, they've been a cool story, and Trevor Lawrence has actually had a really good year. But Denver's got so much confidence right now, dude. Like Bo Nix played a really good game against the Packers. Their defense is playing very, very well. They didn't have a great first half against Green Bay, but in the second half they really stepped it up. I trust Denver a lot more than I trust Jacksonville, and especially that defense. So I'll pick the Broncos, and it's in Mile High. So
if it's a close game, you already know who's winning. So I think that's been a common theme all season. I agree. I think Denver's going to win this ball game. I agree with you as well about Jacksonville. I'm not really buying them being a legit contender in the playoffs, although they will make it. I'm not seeing them going far. Denver's just too good. Their defense is outstanding. And Bo Nix, regardless of what people think, specifically the last couple weeks, starting to turn it up a little bit. So I'm going with Denver. And finally, to the real game of the week. Bills, Browns. 10-point favorites are Buffalo. I've got Buffalo, but I think Myles Garrett gets the sack record in this game. What about you?
I'll go the same thing. Why not?
Bills definitely cover though, because
we know the game I was gonna put on here, but we didn't have a space because we only do 6. But it's all right.
What's the game? We can still talk about it. We won't put it in the picks, but
Patriots, Ravens.
Patriots.
I think that's a sneaky game.
Patriots.
Really?
Yeah. I don't trust the Ravens.
Fair. Yeah. I'll pick the Browns. Not the Browns. The Bills.
I was gonna be like, really? Really? I mean, this would be a game the Browns would win, though.
Yeah.
This would be a game they win.
I mean, the Bills don't have a great defense, so you guys should put up some points, which should work. Some. But the Bills will win this game. But I'll say Myles Garrett gets the sack record. Why not? You guys do cover. I think the Browns will cover.
If we cover, that's a win. That's a moral victory. We take moral victories in Cleveland, Ohio. Okay? That's what we do around here. And the final game, Pittsburgh, Detroit, up in Ford Field, downtown Detroit, Michigan. 3-1-3 stand up. 7-point favorites against Aaron Rodgers and the things I can't say, Squealers.
Aaron Rodgers owns Ford Field. Aaron Rodgers owns the Lions.
Have you picked against the Lions once all season? I don't think you have.
I did. Did I pick him? Did I pick us to beat the Eagles? I thought I picked Philly.
We're gonna look. I don't remember. I'm gonna go back and look in.
I don't remember. But I'm gonna keep the train going. I'll pick the Lions.
Okay, so you picked the Ravens to beat the Lions.
Okay.
Back in week 3.
Yes, I did. Yeah, I remember that.
So actually, yeah, you have picked against your Lions. So who'd you pick?
I'll pick the Lions. I know Aaron Rodgers owns this, but for the love of God, don't do this, man.
It's the Steelers. You know they're going 9-8, Spence, but it's not going to be 9-8 against you guys because they have us to still play. Don't even worry about it. This is an easy game.
The game in Cleveland or Pittsburgh for you?
Huh?
The game in Cleveland or Pittsburgh?
It's in Cleveland.
Next week. I don't know. Cleveland's a house of horrors.
It is the Lions, okay? The Lions are winning this game. Don't even sweat it. You're going to cover the spread as well. This is light work. I guarantee this. No shot Pittsburgh beats the Detroit Lions.
I hate that this is another 4:30 game, too.
The easiest lock of the week. Lock it up. Boom. Lions carry. Big time against the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's going to wrap up this long, enduring episode of the Scoop and Score Football Show. Make sure you subscribe and hit that push notification bell down below. Look down there. You see that? Press everything. All of it.
Mhm.
Right here. Subscribe. Hit the bell over this way. Hit the link in the description. All the links. Go follow us on our personal Instagram pages. Go follow Ball and Beats on Instagram. Go follow Ball and Beats Media on TikTok as well. We go live every Monday night at 11 p.m. Monday night breakdowns. Or we also sometimes go live on our personal stuff just in case we have any breaking news come in. Spencer, what do you want to leave the crowd with today? Nice little words of affirmation.
Well, yeah, because we're not recording for a few weeks, correct?
Correct. This is the last episode before 2026. We will not be recording next week, and we will not be recording the following week. We will be back after New Year's talking college football semifinal matchups, as well as the end of the NFL season.
I'll leave everybody with go Buckeyes, beat A&M or Miami, whoever it ends up being. Can the Lions not make me blow my brains out? And Cade Cunningham's daddy. And the Pistons are the best team in Detroit right now, and I don't know what world we're living in. But yeah, that. And everybody have a great Merry Christmas and a great New Year.
Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa,
Yes.
Happy
Happy
New
holidays.
Year, Happy Holidays to all, and to all,
A good night.
a good night. We will see you guys next episode. Keep following us.
See y'all
like I
next
said,
year.
on social media. We will still be doing lives throughout the process. I am going to be gone for 2 weeks, but it don't matter because we're still going to bring some kind of content, just not here on YouTube. But make sure you're following us on TikTok. We'll be going live there throughout the playoff runs. So long. We'll see you guys next episode. Take care. Peace out.
Peace.